After this week's tragic shooting in Cloquet, fundraising efforts have been launched for both of the victims.
Well, many people who give money have a close connection to the people who died. A sizable donation came in from a group that had recently stayed at the Super 8 where that shooting happened.
In Northern News Now's Rob Coles joins us in studio after hearing from a member of a visiting hockey team who may be very familiar to people in the Northland. Rob?
Well, Briggs and Dan, the Anchorage Wolverines are a Tier 2 junior hockey team that's based in Alaska. This past weekend, they stayed at the Super 8 in Cloquet while playing the Minnesota Wilderness, but the team's connection to our area goes deeper than a visit, and that's part of what inspired them to donate in the wake of the tragedy. At least 2 players on the Wolverines, including Cole Christian and Cade Shea, are originally from our area. When news broke that 22-year-old Shelby Treadle, an employee at the Super 8, was killed, both the players and their moms wanted to find a way to help. Leaders with the Wolverines say that effort led to a $1,600 donation at to Treadle's GoFundMe. According to Shea, Treadle's kindness to the team during their stay was just one thing that made her so memorable.
I mean, it's just really sad that, you saw her, interacted, had like a good light of a person, and just to see them gone so way too early is just really, really sad.
The team stays at that hotel every time they play the Wilderness in Cloquet. At last check, Treadle's GoFundMe has reached almost $20,000. Organizers with that fundraising effort say money raised will be used to help pay for funeral and other expenses the family may accrue. Now, as for the other victim, Patrick Rowers has a GoFundMe as well. His has raised about $11,000 so far. Money raised for that will be used for funeral expenses and funeral and other related expenses. According to his GoFundMe, he was a guest at the Super 8 and was shot while sitting in his car in the parking lot. We've got a link to both of those GoFundMes at northernnewsnow.com.
Thank you, Rob. By the way, the suspect, who's been identified as 32-year-old Nicholas Linnaeus, also shot and killed himself. Police are still investigating why he did it and if he knew either of the victims.